especially with after that AEW fiasco with Lufisto. Is that her name? The indie wrestler, Lufisto. Basically talking about the state of the AEW wrestling over there on their side of things. We're starting to see that trickle into WWE with their women's wrestling, especially with Becky Lynch and women's matches getting cut from the card. This has been talked about for a while now. Probably ever since women have started wrestling, right? With the state of women's wrestling being a little bit up and down, having their matches cut a little bit disrespected in that sense. But what do you guys think about the recent events going on, especially with Becky Lynch, the stuff going down in AEW? But let's start off with Becky Lynch's, especially with her lemonade shirt. After Triple H's press conference with the lemonade comment saying that our talent has to make lemons out of lemonade. Becky Lynch they are really obviously capitalizing off that, especially with Becky Lynch's t-shirt now with a lemon on it. Simple but effective. But what do you guys think about that, especially with all the things going on, especially with Trish and Becky's match getting cut for SummerSlam? Just the state of women's wrestling, not getting a lot of time on the match cards and stuff like that. What are you guys' thoughts?
You want to go first, Brian, or let me go?
You can go ahead.
I don't know. It's tough because we're in a time where I don't know. I don't know if it's more so the women that are wrestling them that maybe they don't see that like high caliber anymore like they first did when, you know, you had the 4 horsewomen coming in, you had Charlotte, Becky, you know, where, you know, I don't know. I feel like they got more time, but then like once they came in, then we got even more. Like we got the Alexa Bliss, we got the Asukas, we got the, you know, I don't know. I feel like more, let's say elite, but I think maybe more well-rounded female wrestlers. I feel like when looking at NXT, I haven't really watched it as much, but to see, I don't know. I'm not seeing these like future, even though the girl that's champ right now, she's not really, she's not impressing me as much.
She's good in the ring.
She is, but I don't know, her personality and her character, I'm not really a huge fan of. I feel like it's kind of generic, but
I think she's suffering from Mandy Rose.
But she could do more than what Mandy Rose did. I think
in the wrestling ring, but I feel like her character is Mandy Rose adjacent. Like it's just another Mandy Rose right now. I feel like that's what it is. It's like a substitution for
that's why I don't know if it's more of a character thing. And then when it comes to AEW, I mean, I just feel like AEW just doesn't book their women's division at all. And I feel they also have some really, I mean, you have people coming
talented wrestlers.
Come on, like I don't know. I don't know. I think that company does not focus well on their women's division, and it's just like you had this like Charlotte Flair and like esque and like Britt Baker who was literally having these crazy matches and everything, and then you have her as like the best friend to like the champ and stuff, and I didn't believe it. I thought she was going to easily turn on her and never did. But then it's like you have people like Athena come in, Ruby Soho, all these other people. It's like, we thought they were going to get this, like the chance that they didn't get in WWE. And Athena is freaking Ring of Honor champ. Or I don't even think she is anymore. I don't even know because I haven't been watching it at all. But it's
I think she. No, actually, no. I don't even know. Shit, I
don't even know. But that's what I'm saying. It's like she's on Ring of Honor. Like who's really watching Ring of Honor right now? It's like, I don't know. I feel like at one point AEW had a good, like they were giving women time. They were having these crazy matches. Yeah, it might have been a little bloodier than some people would, but like these women were putting on bangers. And as of late, it's like, I don't know if they just trying to make time for other people, other like male superstars, but it's just like I feel like you got Willow Nightingale is another one that's like a beast, and then you got but the new chick who became TBS champ. I feel like we've barely seen her perform. She's had some quick matches, but it's just like
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we saw her at
Mhm.
the Garden. It was just like she got a quick match, and it's
guts.
just like I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if it's. I think for WWE, I think it's maybe they've just been recycling through like the people or the matchups that they've been wanting to get, and they're not utilizing these new talent. But I don't know if they just don't view them as like top caliber stars, so they just keep going back to the Becky Lynches, the Biancas, the Asukas, the Charlottes, But the AEW, they're not showing me anything impressive at this point right now with their booking. So,
okay. Since this is a topic on the state of women's wrestling, let me just say this: is women's wrestling in a better place than it was years ago? Yes. Have women been showcased a lot more on whether it's WWE, AEW, Impact? Have women been showcased in a better light? Yes, they've been getting longer matches. It all started in NXT with Triple H really pushing the vision of women's wrestling. We got the NXT 4 women out of it. We've gotten great matches. We got some great stories. We've gotten like the rise of Bianca Belair and such. So we've got some positivity from it. We have progressed, but in recent months, there has been a sort of a regression. And if you really look at it, which women have been the most consistently booked women since the beginning of the year? I can only think of two. There's Rhea Ripley,
Charlotte.
I wasn't even going to say Charlotte. I was actually going to say another women's champion from the NWA. Her name is Camille. I think she's been the NWA women's champion for over 800 days now. Those two women are the only women I can think of that have been booked that have been booked consistently across the industry. And the sad thing about it is we saw in the past how women were displayed. It was more about looks than ability. You're seeing skimpy bikinis, and now we're in the state now where now women are being respectable, what they can do what they can do athletically, what stories that they can tell, and you got all this female talent. I mean, we don't even need to name all the women in WWE. You got Bianca, you got Charlotte, you got Asuka, you got Becky Lynch. I just named four right there. Think of all the feuds and stories that you could tell amongst them. And then you got Bayley, you got Io Sky, who just became a women's champion, and then you go over to AEW. I mean, their women's roster is indeed stacked. They do have. You got Sheeta, you got Paige, Saraya, you got Tony Storm, Ruby Soho, and they are deep. But it seems as though that Tony Khan doesn't have have a hard on for it like he has for other things. They had Jade there, going undefeated before losing to Chris Statlander, and apparently she's on a break. We don't know when she's coming back, but she was hot. She was somebody that was truly an AEW original, someone they were building, coming along, someone that was getting better, who has the character, who had the look. I thought the plan was to make her the future of your women's division, to build around her. She's been away. We don't know what that situation is. Jimmy Hayter was somebody who I would consider the AEW original. That they booked strong, but then as soon as she got hurt, their main story pretty much went down the drain. And the women's championship has been in limbo since. I mean, you have Sheeta who won the title, and some people are still looking at that and saying that came out of left field, it came out of nowhere. There was no.
Yeah, she beat Tony Storm, right?
Yeah, she beat Tony Storm out of nowhere. Was
it like on a Dynamite or something?
Exactly, and the way that you're responding to it right now is the exact reason. Why their women's division is in the toilet right now. Because
dude, I saw
the fact that there was a title change and you don't even know it, and you don't even care, and the woman that won it was the woman that was the women's champion during the pandemic for them, and you still don't even care about it. It really does say a lot. And then you go back to the WWE side, and I'll even use the women's tag team championships as an example. They had that segment with Chelsea Green, and then we got a Piper Niven sighting. We hadn't seen Piper Niven in months. Week after week after week, how many times did we mention where's Piper Niven as a challenger for Rhea Ripley? Where's Piper Niven to even just have even one match or even just an enhancement match with somebody to showcase her? They just bring her back and just to be a tag team champion. How many? And this is the third partner that Chelsea Green has now. This is the third one. First one, Carmella got pregnant. Bill got hurt. What the hell is going to happen to Piper Niven next? Like, what is she going to have an accident or something? What doesn't happen? But this is the third tag team. This is the third tag team partner. And then when we talk about the women's tag team championships, the intention of bringing them in to what we have now, the tag team titles have been the women's tag team titles have been completely misbooked, and it's a reflection of the direction of where women's wrestling is going. I mean, there used to be a point in time where, like you said, we had Bianca and Sasha main event one night of WrestleMania. Just this past WrestleMania, we had arguably one of the best women's matches of all time with Charlotte and Rhea. Mm-hmm. And even though we say that based upon the story, the bloodline storyline, we knew that the tag team match should the main event of night one. When you saw how great that match was, and the fact that it was the women's championship, it could have easily been the main event. But
yep.
Mm-hmm. And just one more thing, and the one thing that's kind of like frustrating for me is the guy who's in charge of creative right now was the guy that started the evolution of women in NXT. So I'm wondering. I know that there's a difference between running NXT and running and obviously doing 3 hours of television on Monday Night Raw. I know there's a complete difference in the booking philosophies and such. But as far as innovation goes, Triple H was the guy that started it, that kind of brought it to the forefront. We got the NXT four horsewomen because of Triple H's vision, and I'm wondering what's preventing him from duplicating that vision now, the main roster. Because it's got to be something. I know he has he can do it, but
yeah, something's going on here because, especially in WWE, even with the SummerSlam match, I thought was good, but the booking towards it was bad. Like a lot of the times, the booking with the women involved, Bianca, Charlotte, Asuka, that build up, like. We got everything building up to that was kind of dragging. The promos going into SummerSlam where they had the little vignettes for each and one of them, that was dope. So they capitalized on that. We got the big match at SummerSlam. Io's the new champ. But it's like a lot of the things that we've seen over the past couple months, especially with the tag team division where we have all these women that are not getting this time. And it's like, why aren't we getting some type of tag team pairing here? Why aren't we getting some consistency as we all said with Chelsea Green? Piper Niven finally coming back, as you explained as well with that. It's like we've been asking for her for months. Like, what's going on with her? Like, she should be a competitor for Rhea. Right now, Rhea still technically doesn't have a challenger, even though it's Raquel Rodriguez kind of battling back from injury. We kind of didn't like how that was booking, and maybe that's the holdup. But it's like Rhea Ripley hasn't had a real challenger since after Backlash, right? Like, who has she faced? Like she's been running roughshod with the Judgment Day. She put Wesley through the table on NXT a couple weeks ago. I'm like, what is she doing? But I understand them getting those variations of time, but in terms of consistency in the ring, it hasn't really been there. And it's like, these women are great. This is the most talented women's wrestling we've ever seen in our lives. Like, this is the most talented crop of wrestlers, women that can go in the ring. And we're just not getting that. I guess this is more towards the state of AEW, where you had people like Thunder Rosa, you had people like Britt Baker putting their bodies on the line, Ruby Soho coming up and putting their bodies on the line there in those hardcore matches and drawing a lot of reaction from the crowd. And it's like, now it's like when we went to, me and Lewis went to Blood and Guts, Britt Baker was on there for 3 minutes. She had a 3-minute match. Chris Statlander had a 3-minute match. And it's like, these women aren't getting the time on television. Yeah, and it's like these women are not getting time on television to showcase their stories, show what they're actually doing. And it's like, it's just a loss right now because it's like we have the women here. This is the most talented women's wrestling that we've had in our lives, as I said before. But it's just like something's just fallen on short where it's kind of like even that within I'm going to say the men's tag team division, but I should say the women's tag team division, where it's okay, we're going to start paying attention to this a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just goes dead cold for whatever reason. And it's like, and especially with all the time that's on television, you have Dynamite, you have Collision, you have Raw, which is 3 hours, you have SmackDown. And a lot of the times, what we've seen over the past couple of weeks is them just reminding us of other storylines and vignettes and stuff like that. And it's like, that can easily be time for women wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like this should be getting more attention because the actual talent is there. If the talent wasn't there, and if the crop wasn't there, if you had everybody hurt and stuff like that, and I know there are some injuries out there, but it's just like, there's enough talent here for us to pay attention to this. Like, we want to see these women wrestle. We're not asking for full pay-per-views and stuff like that, like they try to do with Evolution and with Stephanie McMahon. Maybe that's what's missing. Maybe Stephanie's missing. So maybe that's why they're not paying attention to it. But it's just like, there's enough talent on the roster to make this go. Like, it doesn't have to be like 2-minute matches, 3-minute matches. They're not getting any time. And it's just like, why are we going backwards with especially all this talent? It doesn't make any sense to me on that end.
I think it also depends. Also, something I touched on, it's like just building more stars, but giving these women more wins and credibility. Like, let your heels be heels, let your baby faces be baby faces. Like, okay, I can name off so many people that are on the roster that haven't been used. You got Candice finally just came back. Same with Indy Hartwell. Xia Li, you don't see. Nikki Cross, you don't see. We just saw like Lacey Evans, but the Lacey Evans thing is a whole thing in itself. But then it's like Piper finally
just got let go.
Yeah, Piper, and then Dan's favorite Natalia. We haven't seen her little hint of whatever story we were gonna get from her, I guess.
Lose do act like you miss her. I mean, you're happy that you don't see her right now.
Hey, you know what? I don't miss her, but when she was hinting at like, oh, I don't know who I am, I thought I was getting a character change finally. Jesus Christ. Maybe some new intro music. But
intro music isn't going anywhere, man. It's not going anywhere.
One can dream. Yeah, it's just like,
I'm just saying she had a great match with Rhea Ripley. That's all I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, let these women go and let them show. Like, if you're giving them 2-minute matches, you're not going to see shit. You're like, they're going to be done over. Like, who cares? It's just like, you got to give them. I don't know if it's just creating more stars or more stories or what, but it's just like, it should all start in NXT because all these people have mostly gone through NXT, and it's like, why is this not continuing? Like, we had this whole revolution,
and that's another thing. Like, this is your development system. Like, this is your development system. Like, they should be getting that time, and it's just like, why aren't they? And it's just it's lazy booking at a part of it, because I'm tired of every women's storyline being, hey, they were friends and now they don't like each other. Like, it doesn't always have to be that simple. It could just be them, hey, I don't like you, you don't like me, you have something I want, and let's go. Let's go. It doesn't have to be as
when it's done properly, it's effective. But you're right, they do it too much. When it's done, like the feud that they had with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, like I actually believed it, because like they actually were friends. They were friends. The only thing I didn't like is that they just rushed it a little bit, but the story in of itself was believable. So you can go ahead, Dan.
No, but I'm just saying, like, the certain times they do it, like Toxic Attraction. I can't remember their names, but when she kicked her head through the door, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Everybody was like, holy shit, because that's how impactful it was, and that means people care. Women's wrestling does matter. Like, they can do it right. Like, and especially, again, I'll just bring it back to this, like Charlotte, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. That should have been some of the most entertaining women's wrestling that we've seen in terms of like promos, build up, mind games, whatever the case may be. And it wasn't given time. A lot of the things just didn't make sense from a standpoint of what they were trying to put on TV. And it's just like, why are we getting nothing here? Like, and then this is one thing. Like, I was like, is this something due to the bloodline where they're taking up a lot of the time in terms of storytelling, resources, time on the actual show, and it's just like a lot of these things are falling through the cracks, and it looks like the women's division was a part of that, and it's just unfortunate where. And on the flip side of that, when we look at Rhea Ripley, the only reason why she's been relevant is because she's running around with the Judgment Day and has been so involved with Dominic and stuff like that. And maybe that's a way to kind of like give the roster a little bit time to rejuvenate itself. But it's like, are you guys actually going to do anything with these women that are on standby until we actually get that type of run? And it's like, it's weird that, as we said, Carmella's out. Alexa Bliss is out. I know those are two mainstays that they had there, but it's just like, what are you guys doing with these other women like Candice LeRae? Indy Hartwell just fought Rhea Ripley on Raw, but it's like, that was a 3-minute match. Like, we're not getting anything out of these women long-term story-wise. Maybe there's a booking match there with Candice LeRae that's going to finally appear, or whatever the case may be, but it's just like, we need something there. We need something. We definitely need something, and something needs to change in terms of women getting on time on, because it's like there's enough time, and a lot of these times where we have these storylines that fall flat or don't follow up, and it's like, why aren't the women getting those opportunities in those time slots? And yeah, it's just the same old question that we always get. But it's like, as Brian said, we're in the best state of wrestling for women, but we're kind of floundering in terms of the booking for these women right now, and it's just like, that doesn't need to happen. That definitely doesn't need to happen. And especially right again with the talent that they have, they don't need that. Doesn't need to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's not just the Londra and Aki Bono.
Exactly. That's the thing. As far as
it's not just those two.
Talent goes, they're so deep in the women's roster. WWE, they clearly have the best women's roster in all professional wrestling. So when you have all that talent, all you need to do is provide them with the proper
New Japan. I'm pretty sure Japan promotion disagrees. Pretty sure over there disagree.
in ring wise, the Stardom is the best women's promotion ever in ring wise. But we're talking about character and storytelling and actually making money. Come on now.
Yeah. I just had to make a point. I just wanted to make a point.
I'm just saying, we're actually talking about in ring. They got that. That's why Mercedes was there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well,
Royal Rumble. I'm holding out hope. Royal Rumble. Come back.
Come back, please. That would be clutch.
I mean, if Vince wasn't involved, period, I believe you. But if he's still going to be around, nah.
You never know.
Now
they might throw around enough money.
Now they did get rid of the other piece of shit, John Laurinaitis. So maybe that might change things.
But yeah, I'm hoping that she comes back for the Royal Rumble. But Trinity's doing good in Impact. What's that girl? Drazen Pazazzo? I can't remember.
Deonna Purrazzo.
Deonna Purrazzo, yeah. Her. Like, she's good in the ring.
Was like a bodybuilder. She's huge. I don't know if you know who
I think she left. Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I think so.
Jordan Grace.
Did she leave?
Yeah, I think she did. I think she left after.
Did she leave?
I think she left after Slammiversary. I think that was her last match. Was it? Or was it Bound for Glory? I don't know. I think she just left. Jordan Grace. Yeah, she was like a powerhouse. Yep.
Yeah.
And she took a hiatus. I don't know if she's done or she's actually just taking a break. But Mickie James is still going. Hopefully she comes back in this Trish and Becky Lynch feud. Oh God. I'm still holding out hope for that. But that's just
it's not over.
Just saying, still paid. Steel cage.
That's why I wish you were in the chat on Monday night when they clearly showed that this feud wasn't over with the double count.
I know. I had to watch it the next day, and I was like, "Oh, this is what Brian was talking about." I was like, "God damn it!"
Exactly. It's not over. It is still 2-on-1. It has to be 2-on-2. Once it's 2-on-2, then the feud will be over. If it's still going to be 2-on-1, this feud is going to continue.
Still waiting for fucking Lita to come back. Jesus Christ.
I'm saying if it's Lita, it's a letdown. If it's Mickie James, I'm happy.
That would be clutch.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
The most sense.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense. Who's the person who has a long history? Who's the person who has the longest history with Trish right now? It has to be Mickie James, who can actually go in the ring.
Mickie James would get the biggest pop, but storyline wise, Lita makes the most sense.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Hey! Sometimes the story has to change.
Oh, really?
Sometimes the story.
Really?
Hey!
Really? Oh, really?
When it's needed. When it's needed.
Yeah. I like how you added that. When it's needed.
Now it's when it's needed.
When it's needed.
How about finish the story?
This woman's storyline is needed.
Finish the story, but in a different manner. Don't do the same thing.
We don't need the secret ending. We just need the regular ending. That's going to get the job. That's all.
We don't need the predictable ending.
We need the prediction. That's what we need. We need the predictability of Cody Rhodes writing his story and getting into WrestleMania. That's all right.
Okay,
yeah, he can just walk on SmackDown and go.
Because Lewis opened the can of worms. I'm gonna just say what I need to say right now. Oh man. Wow, what is going on with the booking of Karrion Kross right now, man? I swear to God, I almost feel like because of that loss to Jeff Hardy and how he